Hello viewers, welcome to the morning program, the news current affair, where we look at various stories trending on Nigerian newspaper, editorial, sport, and also international. And then I don't know what the two states here in the morning. High school is actually chill this morning. Yes. Yeah, okay, let's quickly run through the papers. We have quite a number of stories that I'd like us to go through. Let's really do that graph.
Okay, I would like to take the blue telegraph and we have the US agency. Nigeria's half-year oil earning hit 12.6 trillion naira as two-year protection dipped by $2 billion to $8 billion. CBN to roll over 295.53 billion naira treasury bills today, with details in page 25. Federal government invests $2.5 billion in council. Look, the power generation, and now we see a amount of lives more you allies. So we just hope that it will get down to everyone will have the power. They will not hear the issue of the shutdown and gridlock in just these days. We've had the issue of shorting and gridlock shutting out. So we just hope that with this money they will do the right thing, because it is one thing to give us money for something to be done right. So that's for the people who are responsible to do it well. So we just want to do it well. So we'll not have issues with our power, issue of electricity will be restored, and it will be settled once and for all. We have Nigeria scales up non-oil exports, and first half 2022, Zenith Bank sustains growth trajectory with growth with double-digit earning. Federal government U.S. still packs to repatriate $23 million Abacha loot assets to Nigeria. Details can be found in page 4. And I know this issue of Abacha loot, this is not the first time we're seeing where the issue of Abacha loot have been ongoing. I would like to refer back to where we had the Ibori loot, where the state government said, okay, since the money was gotten, that's the Ibori loot, it should be used for the development of that state. And it was back and forth with the accountant general at that time. He said he did not have the money, and he said the back to the state that is supposed to be used. And later on, the minister of the accountant general said he don't have any money in his power. It was just like back and forth on that same money. And now we see this Abacha loot. Abacha loot, you know, it's not a small money that Abacha looted. And if this money is brought to our country, will be off this level in which we are. So we see where they are talking about repatriating this money and bringing the assets to Nigeria. And I just hope with these processes, if it's done and if it's settled, this money will be brought to our country. And when this money is brought to our country, we need the right authorities to supervise how this money is distributed. We see the Paris Club, the Paris Fund. We see where the governors are saying they need this money for themselves. They need the money for their state government. We see where the local government are having this issue of the local government autonomy. So we just hope that this Abacha loot, if the asset is brought to this country, it will be used wisely, because we have so many issues we need money for. Now we see our public universities. Now we see where on the privatization, now they are looking at they are looking out for ways it can be privatized. So we see that if this money is brought to our country, if it is used, because it's one thing for money to be brought and it's one thing for it to be used well. If it's used well and this money is they fund the right places, then I see that we will grow. But if we use this money for our own personal self and we look out for ways we can just help ourselves and our families, not looking at the larger public outside there, then we say that it will not go anywhere. But we just hope that this money, the right authorities will look out and supervise how it is. That's why we talk about accountability. If every any penny that come into this country is and given to any sector is accounted for rightfully, then we'll see that we'll use it for the right thing. But when there's no accountability, there's no auditing of any money that is given out, then you see people just use it for their own self, and the public offices are crumbling every day. So we just hope that if this money, if this $23 million is the asset is brought to this country, we'll invest it in the right places so that we can boost our economy and even boost other sectors that have collapsed in the country. Then this moves to the big story where undertakers of privatization eyeing public universities. This is coming from ASU, as they say, president leaving legacy of tragic epigram on education sector. Reject government 35% salary increment offer for professors, 23.5% for others after 13 years stagnation. And we know that the issue of privatization, we know that it is not, we will not say it on a remarkable side, because we saw where NEPA was privatized, and we know how what it became after it was being privatized. We see NNPC being privatized, although the government are saying it's not privatized, but we know that it was privatized. And we know that even before all these companies were privatized, they were going through some kind of hardship, even amongst themselves, even in this sector. And when it was privatized, it became worse. We see the issue where we have this power gridlock is as a result of the privatization. While it was NEPA, we see also where staffs were cut to, they had to relieve so many people because of the privatization. And now we see this ongoing problem with the universities, the public universities, and now we see where undertakers of privatization are eyeing this place. And I will ask, who are these undertakers of privatization? It is still our public holders. They are the same people who will buy these places and privatize it for their own personal self. We see where some 13 private universities are being accredited for them to run. Who are the owners of these private universities? It is the same people. So we just say that we should do the right thing. We see where professors and even lecturers are saying no to this offer, where they want to increase their salary with 35% for the professors, and for other staff 23.5% after 13 years stagnation. We see that there is no growth even in our educational sector. We see the ASU strike it is glaring all over, and we see where now they are going to meet on Sunday. That's the government and ASU. They'll meet on a round table to talk about this issue. We just hope that they will do something about it. And this issue of privatization, which should not be an alternative, because we saw where those other sectors that have been privatized, we see what they are going through. We see that adulterated petrol. We see the issue of the scarcity of petrol in our filling station. We see the hike in petrol prices. So we should learn from our past mistake. If it's done once, it's a mistake. But if it's done twice or more than twice, then we'll know that it is not a mistake any longer. So we need to look into this.
Sorry to cut you short there. You know, what is really, bothering me right now is the fact that, just like you've rightly stated, let's take a look at our other sectors that are privatized and what happened to it. But Tosi, my concern right now is the fact that when it's being privatized, will the school fees still remain as normal as when it was in the public university? Tosi, we know how much people who are actually attending private universities pay at the end of the day. And definitely, just like you said, who are the owners of most of these private universities? They are still our public holders at the end of the day. And so we need to call them to order, because we have gotten to a place whereby most of our public officers, politicians, feel that we are under their control, forgetting that we are the ones who actually employ them. We are their employers at the end of the day, because you feed on taxpayers' money. So what gives you the effrontery to feel that you could actually just sit down and say you want to build a private university or you want to buy the public universities, and at the end of the day, you'll be the ones, and then the poor man at the end of the day will be the one suffering? Because at the end of the day, definitely the school fees will increase. It's not going to be normal. We've seen issues whereby even when it was public to when most of the sectors became private, at the end of the day, we know how much it was, because you won't compare when it was NEPA, how much you pay, to when it is right now being the private place. If you're in Justice Jet, and then the rest of the states, various names that has been named. So I think we need to come to a place where we have to come to an understanding. Where it is, we saw in the papers on Monday where NASU and SANU have suspended their 60-day strike. Definitely, we know that these are the senior lecturers and these are non-academic staff. So now what happened to the rest of the people there that are still on the strike? Because at the end of the day, yesterday we saw our papers where most of these lecturers have already started going into farming because they can no longer survive. So what now happens to this? Because at the end of the day, it's being privatized. Our lecturers will be either out of jobs, because except if you're willing to go with the beat that is going on presently. So I just think that we need to come, because as it is right now, educational sector is suffering. We saw in our papers where, not even to talk about our tertiary institution, schools has been shut down in various places as a result of the insecurity. So I think we really, really need to do something drastically when it comes to education, because we cannot say we want to tackle the insecurity tools when we do not tackle the education. It's the only way you can fight insecurity when you make students to be in their classroom, where you are engaged, when you are studying, and you know the importance of education to make you better, to make your nation better. Then you will not go for things that at the end of the day will not profit you at the end of the day. So we need to call our office holders to book. They need to come to order to know that this privatization, we are really, really kicking against it, because something needs to be done for us to come. And we are hoping, just like you said, that that Sunday meeting will not end in deadlock as usual, but that there will be a headway at the end of the day.
Yes, thank you very much. Still on the New Telegraph, we have Buhari to governors call on federal government over outbreak of natural disasters unlawful, says training in India part of his success story. Details can be found in page 2 and 5. And I would like to relate this issue back to what a story we learnt about, where we see public holders going to other countries to go learn on how they can improve their country. Rather, they go there and do other things. They go there and do their own businesses. So like, I think you recall the story where our GM told us about, where you see them, they go to other countries and they go about their own normal businesses. They don't even go for what brought them there.
Exactly.
Yes, and this is what is happening. We see the outbreak of natural disasters in our country, and the president is saying he trained some people in India on how they can curb this outbreak, and we see that it's part of the laxity. We cannot continue to blame the federal government always, but we have to blame those people even in those sectors, those people that are working in those sectors. If you are taken to other countries to be trained on how you can come back to our country and see how you can impact your own quota in how all these issues can be curbed, what do you go there to do? They go there and they do their own businesses. They go there, they relax. It's the government money at the end of the day. It's the government fund they are spending. But now we see this outbreak. We have the monkeypox outbreak. We have we have the Lassa fever.
Cholera.
We have so many outbreaks. We see the cholera, see malaria, so many outbreaks. Now we see that from China. That's the Langna virus. We see all this virus, all this outbreak, and now we see for this monkeypox. Like yesterday, I counted. We have 27 states that are affected with this outbreak, and in some states you see where 13 persons died as a result of this monkeypox. How can we curb this for it not to become something that we can't? Yes, something that we cannot handle any longer. And this has to do with people that you've trained on how they can look out for ways they can curb all this. But when they go there, they do their own businesses. And now we see where Mr. President say he has trained some people in India, and it is part of their success story. And yes, it is part of their success story because it is written that they trained some people in foreign nations on how they can look out for natural disasters if we have issues like that in our country. But it is a part of those people. The Ministry of Health. Now we call on the Ministry of Health to do something about this outbreak, because we need to curb it for it not to escalate around the whole 36 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. People are dying, young children are dying, old are dying as a result of all this outbreak. So not something needs to be done very fast on how we can curb this natural disaster. And we have alleged 24 million naira fraud. Oil marketers arraigned few months after state pardon. Details can be found in page 2. NGE Serap to court, stop Buhari and others from shutting down 53 broadcast stations. And details can be found in page 8, and we just hope that this will be done. They need to stop the shutting down of these 53 broadcast stations. We have creation of Electoral Offence Commission. EFCC differs with REPS, INEC and IPAC as REPS proposes 20 years jail term for election riggers, vote buyers and others. NEPSA to refund 13.3 billion naira to government. Invite power finance ministers, BPP and others over $33 million Azura deal. Details can be found in page 2, 3 and 5 of the New Telegraph paper. We have a research here which says skipping breakfast tied to psychosocial health problems, and that's all on the New Telegraph paper.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at this day newspaper. The first story here, Zenith Bank powers on with double-digit top-line growth in the first half of 2022. China to pick 17 African countries for debt forgiveness, offers $10 billion in IMF funds. And I'd like to read a little under that. China, the largest government creditors to emerging economies, have said it will forgive 23 interest-free loans to 17 African countries and redirect $10 billion for its International Monetary Fund (IMF) reserved to nations on the continent. The Foreign Minister Wang Yi announced the cancellation in a meeting of the Forum on China-African Cooperation, according to a post on the ministry's website quoted by a Plumec report. In recent years, China has established itself as Africa's largest bilateral lender, bankrolling key infrastructure projects on the continent as well as giving out loans. The Asian superpower will also redirect $10 billion of its IMF to the yet unnamed nations on the continent, according to Ying, who spoke at the coordinators' meeting on the implementation of the follow-up actions of the 8th Ministerial Conference of the Forum on China-African Cooperation. China will waive the 23 interest-free loans for 17 African countries that had matured by the end of 2021. And also, here it is not clear if Nigeria will be included among the benefiting countries, but checks on the Debt Management Office showed that as of March 31st, 2020, the total borrowing by Nigeria from China was $3.121 billion. This amount is said to represent only 3.94% of Nigeria's total public debt of the $79.303 billion as of March 31st, 2020. Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed concerning this story, Tosi. And just like when I read the story or when I was actually looking at it, I just hope that this will not make us comfortable to keep on going and be lending or borrowing from other nations. We still have issue with the World Bank, where we are the third or possibly the fourth when it comes to our debt in the nation. So I just hope that we'll do something, because I'm still against what the chairman of APC said when he said we can continue borrowing till eternity, and where our own Senate president is saying that we are very poor in the nation. I just hope that this will not make us feel very comfortable and that we can go on borrowing, but I will look inward and say, what can we do? What can we invest in? We have the issue of the steel mining. We have issues of other, will I say, our power plants that are idle. We have so many things that are lying idle. There are things we can actually key into. Our cocoa farming. We need to go back to all this thing, rubber and all those natural
textiles.
Exactly.
Yes.
So there are lots of things that we have, blinded our eye, possibly because we think that we still have our crude oil. But believe you me, these wells are drying up. We are still having issues of illegal mining on these parts of the, various parts of the nation. So I just hope that we'll look inward and see what can we do so that other nations can also borrow from us, because it will be a thing of joy to us to see that nations are coming to borrow from us. We cannot keep on borrowing from other nations. Still on this day newspaper, federal government U.S. signed agreement on repatriation of the $23 million Abacha loot. Detail can be found on page 34. And I'd like to read a little, even though you've expanded, but I want to see what the papers have to tell us concerning this Abacha loot. And here they said that the amount of money stolen by the late General Sani Abacha and his cronies, which have been repatriated to Nigeria by the United States, has hit over $334.7. The U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, Mary Leonard, said on Tuesday. According to her, the U.S. government had been keenly aware of the devastating impact of corruption on societies, including eroding trust and the ability of the government to deliver to their citizens. It distorts the economies and the access to key service. It hinders development, pushes citizens toward extremism, and makes countries and their officials susceptible to malicious foreign interference. Leonard expressed these views during the signing of an agreement with the federal government for the $23 million being asset looted by Abacha. And also, while the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, signed the agreement on behalf of the Nigerian government, Leonard signed for the United States. Malami said since 2016, the Federal Ministry of Justice, United Kingdom, National Crime Agency, and the United States Department of Justice has been working closely with the legal representative of the federal government to finalize relating to the Abacha's leak asset. Following the agreement between the parties, The IGF said the UK High Court granted the NCA a registration and recovery order on July 21st, 2021, which was sealed by the court on August 4th, 2021. And just like you said, already this money has been released, but just like you said, we hope that the money will go to the right place. I remember the first batch of money that came in, we heard that it will be distributed to people who are vulnerable, people that will be able to use it to start 1 or 2 business. But we're yet to hear anything. And I think this will be the place where we'll need our callers to call us if they have benefited from their bad childhood. I remember you spoke, there was a time you asked people to actually tell us so that it will not look like we are not applauding the government or some agency or people are actually funding this money. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed and we hope our callers, you call us when we open our lines concerning that. Still on this day newspaper, downside of it, we have INEC electoral process incomplete without offences commission, and the right of law industry backs bill seeking establishment of electoral court, asks the IGF to stay clear. Says it secured 60 convictions in 125 cases from 2015 elections. EFCC reject bill as placard requests reduce penalty for ballot snatching. And Bajabi and Miller electoral crimes help riggers take control of the government. We have a picture story here, a 10-year plan for football. The president is actually having a plan to protect footballers. And I hope this will not just be for football, but then we'll look at the sport ministry, what can be done for them. And that's all on this day newspaper.
On the Daily Sun, we have IPOB goes after kidnappers of 4 Reverend sisters as abductees regain freedom. And that's good. A good one for the Reverend sisters who were abducted on Sunday on their way for a Thanksgiving Mass. And it's a good news here that they've regained freedom. And we just hope that we still go out, the security outfit to also go out to the nooks and crannies to fish out all those people who are out there abducting people and terrorizing the peace of people in different places. Fake news, misinformation, exaggerating insecurity. This is coming from the federal government. And ballot snatchers, vote buyers risks 20 and 15 years jail term as reps move against electoral offenders. INEC seeks clamp down on sponsors. And I would like to say, what about those who engage these people? Because on their own, they can't just go out and start snatching ballot boxes and even papers. There are people who engage those people in doing all this. What about those people? What offense, what judgment is set down for these people? Because if all those people who are out snatching ballot papers and even ballot boxes, when they are apprehended, they call out names that those are the people who engaged me in this business. So what happened to those people? We should, yes, I know that yes, we need to punish those people who are snatching this, but those people who engage them also should be punished and they should be brought to book, because they can't just do it on their own without other people engaging them. And when we talk about other people, we know that this is the politicians that engage these people. We saw where we had the primary election where we saw where they had to give people money, and when EFCC apprehended these people, they were calling out some parties that these parties are the ones who gave them all this money. So we see that they cannot just do it on their own without the politicians engaging them. So punishment also should be set aside for those people who engage all those people. And I would like to say, we see this strike now is a distraction to these people, because this youth now, they are idle, and we know this say where say an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So many thoughts now come into their mind, and we know that we have the primary, the campaign will soon start, and our youths are the ones who are engaged. So you need to see when they start this campaign, you need to see the risks our youths take in campaigning for those people. They go through some kind of things just campaigning, and we know that they give them little money just to engage those people's mind. They engage them with little amount of money. So we say punishment also need to be done, need to be set aside for these politicians that engage them. If we are going through the election process, it needs to be free and fair, and also any punishment that is given to those people, also the politicians need to be given their own punishment so that they will stay hid and stay clear from all these things. We have Buhari retreat commitment to tackle banditry and terrorism, vows to resist attempt to undermine football. Zenith Bank sustained double-digit growth in 2022 first half gross earning. While on insecurity, governors won election may not hold in some northwest states. Details can be found in page 26. And Labour Party will restore hope, rebuild Nigeria. This is from Peter Obi with details in page 26. Editors Serap Sue Buhari, NBC others over plan to shut 53 broadcast stations. Court officers, police inbound Andy Uba's car over death owned by Ato Eze. We have PDP Board of Trustee Chair insists Ayu should go. Wike can't decide Rivers vote. This is coming from Lamido. And US signed pact with federal government to return $23 million Abacha loot. We have a picture story here. The chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and the national commissioners, Mrs. Mary Abamuche Mbu and Professor Rhoda Gumus, during a public hearing by the House of Representative Committee on Electoral Matters on the bill to establish the National Electoral Offence Commission and Related Matters 2022 in Abuja. That's all on the Daily Sun.
And on midweek Ajezra newspaper, EFCC opposes establishment of Electoral Offences Commission. Detail can be found on page 10. Shakaru versus Konkoso tussle that led to the separation. You can read detail of that story on page 27. Northerners shouldn't dominate. Top the PDPC, the Board of Trustee Chairman insists. You can read up that story too on page 26. The big story, which is on terrorism and banditry. Your time is up, Buhari once says we must fight. We must take the fight to the terrorists and praises Indiana training for his military success. Well, we also have to praise them, but then we want to see that in action, you know, just like we always say backwards then when we go for peacekeeping in Liberia and other nations. And we're always applauded as the best when it comes to our outfit and also what we're able to do. So I hope that with all this training that this military have gone through, we'll be able to see it. And also, we don't want to hear that the Northwest did not hold election come 2023. Every part of the country must hold their election come 2023. So this is to make sure that everybody that is in the security have to be open about doing, because we want to hear that everywhere is safe for everybody to go into their election. So we just keep our fingers crossed and we hope that our military will put their hands together with every other person so that elections will hold 2023.
Yes, I'll talk about the governorship election. It's on 11th of March 2023 and we have 7 months. Now, it's adequate time for the government to work on this. So we should not have issues where they will say elections will not hold in some part of this country. We saw where they talk about the general election saying no matter what it will hold, coming from the CDS concerning this issue of insecurity. So also the governorship election, it should hold, and also they should put all it takes in working on this issue of insecurity, and even INEC also should put all it takes that this election will come, because we should not have stories where election did not hold because of some issues that is not beyond us. So we just hope that they will do something and start working now. Give it adequate time. 7 months is adequate time for you to work on what you see is going to serve as an obstacle to stop you from conducting this election. So now they need to start now. If you start seeing some signs and some traits that will stop you from having this election, then you work on it from now. And we just hope INEC and even the federal government and the security agencies will put their hands together to fight this issue so that elections will hold. People are waiting. People can't wait for that time where they will have the governorship election and even the general election. So nothing should stop us from having those elections.
Of course, Josie. Still on Ajezra midweek newspaper, Buni offers automatic employment to children of Slay Ube cleric, and this is really a right step in the right direction. Federal government urges African countries to increase regional manufacturing capacity. Police rescue 18 kidnapped passengers hunters in Osun. Detail can be found on page 11. Delta government opens registrar for sexual crime convicts and others, and I think other states also have to take this right step too. The Maiden Edo Film Festival received 1,551 entries from 94 countries. And we can see this is another sector that actually contributes to our GDP. So we hope something will be done about the entertainment and also the industry so that we can see what we can do to make sure that more entries come into the country and that Nigeria will be seen as a place where investors of foreign movies can also come into the nation to invest in. Borrowing by oil firms from banks hit 5.93 trillion naira and made losses. We have a picture story too, so you can actually grab the Al Jazeera Midweek newspaper and read any of the story that is of interest to you. But to see before you move further, I would like us to go on a break where we'll open the phone lines and would like to hear what your views are concerning the Abacha loot that have been recovered into the nation, and what do you feel about the pardon that China is actually planning to do? Do you feel that Nigeria should be comfortable to keep borrowing, or what do you think is the right step in the right direction? Do not go anywhere. Right after this break, we'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, it's the Dailies on Echo Television International, and we've been looking at various stories that have been trending on our papers. The privatization of some of the public universities. Do you think it's the right step in the right direction, looking at the way the educational sector is going through? I think that this is something we need to talk about. So our phone lines are open. You can do well to call us and let us hear what your views are on the privatization, if it is the right step, or because we're looking at people that are trying to eye the public varsities. Do you think it's the right thing? And also the Abacha loot, what do you think the federal government should do? Call us and let us hear what your feels are. I'm still here with Tosi. Okay, already we're having calls coming in. Hello, Stephen from Benue. Good morning. Hello, Stephen, are you there?
The borrowing of federal government,
okay.
Advance the cover to them because they want to create problems for executives that are coming in next year. On the other hand, I will advise that the executive, the legislatures should resign, and the governors should resign because they have lost memory. They said anybody who serves for 50 years and above, they should be retrenched. And all of them have served 50 years, so they should resign and let us have a new government and make Nigeria economy. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for that contribution. Yeah, Tosi, let's move further to other papers.
Okay, I'll take the Daily Independent. Federal government undertakers of privatization ready to take over public varsities. This is from the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Federal government signs agreement with US to return fresh $23 million Abacha loot. PDP governors may dump Wike over alleged anti-party activities, worry over harassment of pro-Atiku loyalists, and romance with APC. Tinubu meets Governor Wike and Autumn Makinde abroad. Malami declares sacked DCMD's refusal to vacate office ultra vires. And Zenith Bank sustained double-digit growth in gross economy in first half 2022. FCC PC director dies while fighting with female colleagues. And PSC suspend recruitment of constable after IGP's protest. Fake news, misinformation.
Okay, sorry, Tosi. Hello, Apostle David. Good morning.
Yes. I yeah, good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Go on, please.
Okay, I just want to comment on that Abacha's loot.
Okay.
I want to ask a question, please. What the other the former the former loot that Abacha looted, I think I learned that they returned those loot during the time of OBJ. Even till the time of Goodluck, they are still returning back loot. What are they using that money for?
Okay, is that all, Apostle David? Yes, I think that's all, and that is the same answer everybody's looking for, and that's why we say we want to know those who have benefited, because it was on the paper that they use part of those to loot money to actually invest in, you know, some businesses. So we want to hear if truly that money has been siphoned there. So we keep our fingers crossed. Anything we hear, we'll bring you the first-hand information here on the show.
Yes, Elian, where fake news means information worsening insecurity. This is coming from the minister, and I think this is why some media stations want to be shut down because of fake news and misinformation. And I would like the government to let us understand what they see as fake news and misinformation. Is it concerning the documentary that was sent across concerning insecurity, or what do they think is fake news and what do they tag as misinformation? Because now we see where broadcast stations want to be shut, although editors and even Serap are saying no to that, and we just hope that it will be no to that.
Okay, hello, Stephen from Benway. Hello, Stephen, are you there?
And as soon as that money comes, Nigeria should put up intelligence section to monitor the distribution of that money, either to the state or local government or to individual persons. Because Nigeria has been corrupt for so many years. We don't need it again. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Stephen, for that contribution again concerning the loot.
Yes, and here on Daily Independent, we can't prosecute and punish electoral offenders. This is coming from INEC as parties and others back establishment of Electoral Offences Commission. Buhari orders military to hunt killers of Islamic cleric Al-Masini. Details can be found in page 7, and that's all on the Daily Independent.
On the Voice of Liberty on 2023, elections may not hold in several northwest states over insecurity. Governors tell Buhari. And Atiku and Wike feel PDP consider the Southwest for Ayu's replacement. Tinubu meets Wike, Makinde, Otum in London. And on 2023, Baba Ahmed warns Nigerians against voting APC, says party is a mistake Nigerians must not repeat. The big story on the Voice of Liberty: federal government and U.S. sign agreement on return of the over $20 million Abacha loot. The federal government and the United States government have reached an agreement on the return of the over $23 million of the late Abacha loot. Detractors using fake news, misinformation to aggregate insecurity coming from the federal government. Hello, Stephen, you're back again.
Hello, I'm waiting.
Okay.
Yeah, well done. I want to speak on. Hello, I want to speak on this PECOM.
Okay, go on, Stephen.
There was a time I in charge of PECOM bribe Radio Berkete 50 million. Federal government did not investigate, found out the truth, and get her arrested. Now we are hearing another one that is paid 500 million. To boost to Mustafa, secretary to federal government. Why can't they investigate and get these people arrested while they are suffering retirees? Day and night. You work, you are serving, you are suffering. You retire, you are suffering. Terrorism will not end if they don't stop all this. God bless you. They should investigate both Mustafa.
Thank you, Stephen, for that. And I know investigations will definitely go. Whoever is looting any money, just like you have said concerning corruption, we cannot do away with corruption without, auditing and also checking all these units. So I believe and I hope that all this investigation will go on. And we keep talking about the PECOM, our retirees suffering. We've seen old people fainting. So so we really, okay, we have another call. Hello, Apostle.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go on with your contribution.
Okay, what I'm just want to comment on that headline. You say that there may not be election in the north because of
Some
insecurity.
Some northwest.
Let there not be election there because they have created a lot of trouble and problem to themselves because they are very desperate of power, killing people, destroying life and property, and yet they still want to continue in the office. Why can't these people settle that matter once for all? Killing people, killing Christians, killing everybody over there in the north. Okay, look at the other headline now you still talk about. There was a Muslim cleric that was killed, and now they want to arrest the person, isn't it? Yes. If it is a Christian, or maybe a pastor, or maybe somebody who is a Christian that was killed, they will just talk. At the end of the day, they will just kill the matter there. You see, those people, they're not supposed to be our leader in this country. If this country will be divided, let it be divided. Let them go that side and Islamize themselves and leave us alone. They are killing, they are destroying. It's not good. I wish that this is what you people are doing here is, they are hearing what we are talking here in Aso Rock. So please let them know what to do.
Thank you, Apostle, for that contribution, but then still, like we're saying, we are totally kicking against it. Elections must hold in every part of the nation. We know that 30 states will be having, 30 states out of the 36 states plus the FCT will be holding their election 11th of March. And I know 2 states will be having theirs ending that like November. Yeah. So it is very, very important that every state must hold its election because power needs to be rotated. Hello, Kefas from Makodi. Good morning. Hello, Kefas, are you there?
Morning, Tosi and Fele.
Morning.
I want to talk on the issue of the level of insecurity in Nigeria and the fears that election might not hold in some certain states. There's no reason for saying elections will not hold in some certain states. We pray that elections should hold in the whole country. Yes, like Tosi rightly said, 7 months is enough to put every security apparatus on ground to give us the needed security to conduct election. Are they trying to give us the impression that the bandits, kidnappers, and herdsmen are more stronger than the Nigerian army? Just like Sele rightly said that Nigeria has gone for ECOMOG, a different military assignment outside, and we are rated one of the best in the world. And I wonder why it will remain that up till now we are still having shivering concerning our forthcoming election. I think there's a lacuna somewhere. And secondly, you made mention of Abacha's loot. My sister, just like the last caller, Stephen, rightly said, please, if that money comes, let them credit every Nigerian's account, even if it is 2 million. Because the way they are making things, no, it's not funny. I don't want even people to laugh. The way they are making things look is as if there is money somewhere, but yet we still go out to borrow. So how do we reconcile what we are borrowing from China? Like you rightly said that on one of the headlines that China is intending to give a waiver to some certain African countries that are owing there. If I were China, I will not give Nigeria a waiver because we don't deserve it. We are too corrupt. And for now, I rest my case, but I beg you people to continue in this manner, Tosi and Sele. Let federal government and National Assembly members begin to hear you because I know they will give deaf ear to these issues. Now, on the issue of privatizing public or conventional universities, I wonder where the government is going to. Do you want to sell to the universities to individuals where education will not be meant for the poor? My God, I should touch Nigeria and give Nigeria a better future. Like somebody rightly said, our 2023
I think the network is a little bit bad on Kefas, but I got every of his key point, and it's very important, and it's still in line with what I was saying before his call came in. Elections must hold in every part, and dividing this country will not solve the matter, because no matter where you go, people always have conflict. But we need to come together and see what can we do to, bring out unity at the end of the day, because elections must hold. Whether you're in the IDP camp, you should have your voter's card. Elections must hold. And they're saying that killing is everywhere. We have issues of kidnapping even in the south, so it's not about where it's coming from. Okay, hello, we have a caller from Ebony.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello,
we can hear you. Go on, please.
I'm Timothy Okonkwo from Ebony State.
Okay, Timothy, go on.
Yes, Nigeria, yeah. Yes. Please, I want to speak on
Stop listening to your TV set.
Abacha's route. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please. I am saying that Nigerians should use the money to pay to the empowers beneficiaries that have served, because they have been dribbling us. Please let that money be shared to empowers, and again, the remnant of that money should be distributed to all the states in Nigeria so that they will use it for poor people. Please. That is my own contribution.
Thank you, Timothy. Tosh, everybody tends to have an idea what should be done with that loot. I don't know if you have a take about that story.
Yes, this is not the first time we see where the government will see there's a particular amount of money that will be shared to the poorest of poor. And I'll say, how do you get to know the poorest of poor in a community? And we know where this money goes to at the end of it all. So now we see that this Abacha loot, if recovered, I would say it should be used for infrastructure. And if it's used for infrastructure, there should be accountability, and there should be...
Oh, sorry, Tosi. Hello, Samuel. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, please go on.
Yes, I have a contribution to make.
Okay, go on.
Yes, concerning an Abacha loot.
Okay.
This Abacha loot, the recent Abacha loot that was given to Nigeria, they assure us that they are going to empower some businesses. Until now, we haven't heard anything about it. It's like that money has been siphoned. And now, they want to send in another money. So, we should watch carefully on what we are going to use for the money, what the government are going to do about that money. This very money will not be siphoned as other ones. Right from Obasanjo, good luck, even this present government. The US has been always sending money to Nigeria. But the point is there is that we cannot give an account of what the government is using with this money. And again, they are talking about privatizing public universities. I don't know how this thing is going to, how the citizens of this country is going to benefit from in that. Whenever any public property is being privatized, we see how it works. Even the fees, everything will increase. So, but we should do something about it. This government should rise up, because we expect this country to do more. We expect this government to do more. Like again, they are talking about that votes that there are some part of this country like Northwest, election might not hold. Because this is what we're talking about. We know, and we know that the terrorists, they cannot overpower this government. We are recommended all over the world, but we should do something. That's why we're asking this government. This government should do better than this. That's why we're asking. So this is my contribution.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your effort.
Thank you. Yeah, Tosin, you were talking.
Yes, I'll see, just like what this last caller said about corruption and how it's been used, all this fund. We saw the issue where we had these delegates and we saw some use that opportunity to enrich themselves and enrich their family. Some use it as an opportunity to enrich their communities. But I would say when this money comes, there should be a set of people that will look out for ways this money can go to different states for infrastructure, for growth and for development. If the state is thriving, if the country is thriving, if the economy is thriving, everyone will smile. But if everything is downturn, everyone will frown. So I just hope that when this money comes, it should be used for infrastructure, it should be used for growth, it should be used for development. Then we know the issue of corruption. Everyone wants every opportunity just to enrich himself. But I just hope that the right people, even amongst us, we still have the right set of people. We still have the people who look out for ways, accountability, and how things can be done the right way. And just like we spoke about the election needs to hold because we need to change. Power must change hand. And we have the right people who will take this mantle and do the right thing in our country.
Of course, Tosin, let me quickly round up the Voice of Liberty. We have on 2023 Shoyinka breaks silent on the Muslim ticket. And on insecurity, Katsina government to deploy 3,000 security personnel to tackle the crimes in the front line in the various local governments. And this is the right step, I believe. And that is all on the Voice of Liberty and also how far we can go on the program, the Dailies. Hope you had a blessed time. And until we come your way again, take care of yourself.